Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Two news stories. Firstly, fighting on Ethiopia Kenya border. Kenyan government officials yesterday confirmed clashes on Ethiopian side of the border. Which groups are involved? Uh, and there are concerns in Kenya that this fighting could spread into Kenya. Secondly, some journalists have been released by the Ethiopian government. Yesterday, the journalists were released. Three journalists. Are we going to see some sort of dialogue between Fano and the government? That is why government is taking confidence building measures. Why are people suddenly being released? We've seen dozens of people released in a recent people who were arrested after the imposition of state of emergency in the Amhara region. Let's start with the first story from Ethiopia Kenya border. David Saroni is Marsabit County Commissioner. Marsabit is a county in Kenya. It's on Kenya Ethiopia border. David talked to a Kenyan news source yesterday, and he said that heavy fighting in Ethiopia, on Ethiopian side of the border, very close to Kenyan territories, is a matter of concern. He said that we are monitoring the situation and soon we will release a comprehensive report. The fighting is underway around a kilometer away from Kenyan territory on Ethiopia side of the border in Dukkale. Dukkale. Dukkale is on Ethiopia side of the border. There are tensions obviously in Kenya too, because when heavy clashes are ongoing, sounds of gunfire can be heard. It means that people from Ethiopian side of the border could be displaced towards Kenyan territory, or those who are in Kenya, they could be they could be displaced too because of fear. So there are concerns in Vario, Goyo, and Wako villages, which are on Kenya Ethiopia border. Fighting is between Ethiopian military and the fighters of the Oromo Liberation Army (OLA) report. Oromo Liberation Army definitely has its presence close to the border areas. Ethiopian politicians like Birhanu Naga, others have been claiming that Ola had hideouts, camps in Kenya and other countries. Oromos live in Kenya as well. Yes, yes, Ola does have presence in Kenya. It receives support from some elements in Oromo community in Kenya. Now, the important point which I want to make about this development is that Ethiopia is planning to use the Kenyan Lamo port. I think already Ethiopia has received fertilizer shipments from abroad through Lamo port of Kenya. While Ola has such a significant presence on Ethiopia-Kenya border, is it viable that Ethiopia can use Kenyan ports without making peace with Ola or without taking Ola on board? It's a very important question. It means that Ola can disrupt the economic activities, the big decisions made by the government about use of new port in Kenya. And secondly, Ola does have control of mines too in the Oromia region. Gold extraction, gold mining is not producing desired results for the government. Why? Because Allah is in control of territories, some territories where coal mining is underway, and it's difficult for foreign companies to operate in those areas without being on good terms with the Oromo Liberation Army. Let's see what will happen to Ethiopia Kenya corridor. South Sudan is also part of this corridor. South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya are the part of the project which was built a few years ago to connect the two countries, landlocked Ethiopia and South Sudan with Kenya, which has. Let's see. Secondly, was three journalists have been released by the government, Ethiopian government. The journalists were arrested months ago during the state of emergency. Hundreds of people were arrested, people from all walks of life. They were accused of supporting Fano militia, supporting logistically, supporting morally, supporting diplomatically, supporting financially, supporting through whatever they were doing. So hundreds were arrested, and now gradually people are being released. We know that earlier this month, the state of emergency expired in the Amhara region, and it has not been extended so far. It means that government does not want to continue the state of emergency, and those who were arrested under the state of emergency are being released, but not hardcore supporters of the Fano groups. Rather, those who were suspected of having links or who were working in capacities like writing, etc., they are being released. But those who have been fighting on front lines, main Fano fighters of lower units who were arrested, they're not being released reportedly. Three journalists released Bacalo, Alambre, Bae, Manaye, Theodorus Zerfo. They were arrested a few months ago, remained in prison. What was their crime? Anything proven against them? They were granted bails by the courts, and after that they were released. When we say that courts intervened, no. We know that Oromo Liberation Front leaders have been granted bails. In most cases, they have been acquitted as well, but still they're in prison. Why? Because courts cannot implement their orders. Courts just pass orders, but in Ethiopia, executive is very strong. Can we say that Ethiopian government and Fano are about to start talks, and that is why people are being released as a good will gesture? No, no signs of talks between the two sides. I think those who were not involved in grave offenses according to the government, they are being released. But hardcore supporters are still in custody, reportedly. Take watch.